today I stand before you a concerned citizen, a mother, and a member of this great community of Milwaukee. As a member of this community, I believe it should be top priority for myself and my family to feel safe and protected here. Unfortunately, we do not feel safe. We are heavily policed with military-style tactics that do not serve us as a help. We should not have to fear for our lives by those who are sworn to protect and serve us. Police officers should not have the authority to choke someone until they die. Time and time again, we've seen police officers claim they feared for their lives when in actuality it was cold-blooded murder. Many places have adopted legislation that bans the police use of chokeholds. In New York City, police use of chokeholds is criminalized. Police can be charged with a Class C felony and serve up to 15 years if they use this tactic. In Houston, there was an executive ban on chokehold use by the mayor. But yet, here we are today as citizens of this city having to fight for our right to breathe. Cities like Minneapolis, who have a notorious history of violence against Black people, they have placed mandates for officers to immediately intervene if they witness an officer utilizing this tactic. It's time for change. Our local electeds, selected, and just plain old in the ways, our elected, selected, and just plain old taking up space need to get real about protecting this city and all of its citizens. Let us breathe. Under no circumstances should police officers be able to choke someone until they die. Chokeholds need to be banned with no exceptions. Dallas, Washington, D.C., Phoenix, Seattle, Chicago have all taken the next steps to protect its citizens. In the entire state of California, chokehold use is banned. This is an obvious change we need to see for our community. The people of Milwaukee fund police murder and misconduct. Every time there's a lawsuit against MPD, we fund them. Enough is enough. If police cannot learn to de-escalate without lethal force, they do not need to be police officers. So we are asking today that the FPC of Milwaukee make the right decision and ban chokeholds with no exceptions. No exceptions, not life or death, no chokeholds. Thank you. I'd like to introduce Rebecca Burrell.
My name is Rebecca Burrell. And right now, here in Milwaukee, in Wisconsin, we are seeking uniformity with our brothers and sisters across the nation when it comes to banning chokeholds with no exceptions. The issue with the no exception on the chokehold is that now it places it in the same category as a firearm. Now chokeholds are being defined as a deadly force tool in the toolkit of officers. If officers, in which we always know, fear for their life, cry wolf more than the little boy that cried wolf, are afraid and that fearful due to bias, then maybe we need to seek out and hire Captain America, the new one. We need to ban chokeholds with no exception. We don't even have use of force definitions and policies and procedures that can back officers using something that they're not even trained on as a deadly force weapon. Milwaukee Police Department, you need to work on your training and de-escalation. If you haven't trained for chokeholds, why would you put it in the same category category as a firearm. Why would you allow officers to use a tactic that is not trained? What is wrong with the tactics that are already trained? I'll tell you what's wrong with the tactics that are trained. The problem with the tactics that are trained is that there's two different policing systems. You're trying to kill black and brown people. You're trying to de-escalate in the outer skirts of Wisconsin, in the suburbs of Wisconsin. You're trying to de-escalate when it comes to white skin. You have a bias when it comes to black skin. Say no to the exception. No exception to the ban on chokeholds. Thank you so much. And I want to call up Vaughn Mays.
A judge recently ordered that the video in the Joel Acevedo case must be released. I contend that once that video is shown, we will see the answer we all know to this question that shouldn't be being asked. The question I pose instead is for the commission and or the department to tell us one instance where there has been a life and death struggle where a chokehold was necessary. This is a no-brainer. All chokeholds must be banned. We cannot play politics and insert and deter by introducing what-ifs and hypotheticals. Because the things that we know that are not what-ifs are knees in people's necks, knees in people's backs, overextending and hyperextended arms, breaking people's arms. Those are things that should be the focus of this ban, not chokeholds. We don't have a chokehold problem here. So this is a deter of a conversation where we should be focusing on things that actually happen all the time. And again, I appreciate that judge for making that decision. And again, when that video comes out, and we don't need to see the video, we know that Joel Acevedo is not here. He is no longer here due to a chokehold. We know that Corey Stingley is not here due to a chokehold. So this is a no-brainer, and I imply the Fire and Police Commission to make a decision that they should make anyway. And I make that contention on behalf of my community, the people of color who go through these things all the time, who know what attacks we are actually under, and under my platform of Comm Force. We stand by the People's Revolution and by all other groups who side with this right decision, ban all chokeholds.
Can you say it for your name?
Vaughn Mays, V-A-U-N-M-A-Y-E-S.
First off, I want to thank everybody for coming out today. I want to first just share how honored I am to stand with Camilla, who is an educator, Rebecca, who is a business owner, and Vaughn, who is a community organizer and on the front lines of helping to develop our young people. And to highlight how risky it is for our police department to continue to use the practice of allowing, in a sense, if they were refusing to take it out of the repercussions of using chokeholds, you're going to allow officers to use them. It's important for us to be a leader in the city of Milwaukee, for the rest of the nation, for the rest of the state, that we can lead and take the position that we don't need chokeholds in any circumstance right here in Milwaukee. And we're calling on the FPC to do that. The folks that are behind me, folks that are not here, they're here in spirit. They have been marching, they have been calling. The Fire and Police Commission, they have been encouraging other residents to do that as well. They've been contacting elected officials to highlight the importance that this moment brings. Restricting the access to breathe for an individual lessens a chance that they'll actually get a chance to go through the criminal justice system and have their fair chance in court. And it's very likely, just like Rebecca said, that those methods are going to be used against us because we are black in this city, because we are black in this community. So rather than allow that, rather than allow our lives to be at risk, we have a chance to lead. And I speak also to the law enforcement leaders and members of the law enforcement community here, many of whom I respect and have had many long conversations and long engagements, many of whom have served decades on our police department, many who are black and who have for years not used lethal force in any circumstance in their whole career. We know that we can have a police department that can lead and not risk lives of those they should be serving. So this is a defining moment for the Fire Police Commission. People have given that insight. They have been contacted, they have been engaged, and I'm proud of our community for doing that. Now we're asking for the Fire Police Commission this evening to make the right decision. Just like when we, in years before, Officer Chauvin, who punched a black woman in the back of a police car back in 2012, when the police commission almost at that time was about to reverse the decision of the police captain, of the police chief, of letting go of that individual's job. They listened to the community. We're asking for them to do that same thing right here, right now, that we need to make this shift, this paradigm shift in how we operate and what we allow our police officers to do. So thank you guys so much for coming out.
So any immediate representative here have any questions?
The question was, do we have any indication of the FPC leaning one way or the other? Any of us can take that question? Yeah, any of us can take that question. I'll just say they should be leaning towards eliminating this since so many people have reached out. We have not been quiet on this issue. Many people have been engaged, contacting them, encouraging others to contact them. And you know, you have hundreds of days now of marching of people who have not been silent since the death of George Floyd, who was killed this same way, who was killed by the restriction of airflow in his body. So I think there's much evidence, much movement to be able to show that they should be leaning this way. Anybody else want to say anything on that?
I just wanted to say that I do believe that the FPC is well aware that the community is in favor of the banning of chokeholds. They asked specifically for members of the community to chime in on this situation. They said that they've received hundreds and hundreds of emails pertaining to people asking them to ban chokeholds. So they're well aware of what the community wants, and I believe they understand that this is something that needs to be done to protect everyone in Milwaukee. And when I say everyone, I specifically mean black people, because the police are enacting these tactics on black and brown people in our communities, and we all sit and watch it. So it's time for it to end.
Can you say what it is?
It's KAMILA.
So I believe that the FPC is willing to ban the exception. I think that the pushback came to them from the police union, who threatened to sue them had they made the decision when they were ready to. So I'm hoping that we can overcome that obstacle with the police union, and that the FPC is allowed to do what they are showing the people that they would like to do, which is to go ahead, put this vote on the table, vote on it, and move on to other issues that we have in our community.
And just to be clear, to add to what Rebecca just said, the police union does not represent the people in the city of Milwaukee. They do not represent the interests of the people, the citizens, the residents of the city of Milwaukee. In fact, the police union has a history of supporting and pushing for things that is costing taxpayers millions of dollars and that is costing people their lives. So they can threaten to sue all they want to. This is the right thing to do to protect not only the residents, but to protect the police officers from thinking they're able to do something that puts them in a position whether they can be charged or cost the city more millions of dollars. So the police union can go fly a kite in a thunderstorm.
Are there no further questions?
Is there any recourse, if the vote does not go your way, is there any recourse you guys would take to have a look at it again? Will you, are there going to protests happening because of it?
Change the laws, or the laws will change me. The FPC has an opportunity to do what the community is calling for them to do. And what they fail to do, they will see a response from the community.